everybody, welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to be working with one of my favourite woods. This is Laburnum. This was given to me by Wayne. It was part of the large box of wood he sent me a few weeks ago. So hopefully we can make something nice out of it. It's about just under 8 inches tall, 5 inches wide. And I think to get the best out of it, we can probably split this down the middle to make a couple of pieces. So I'm going to take this over to the bandsaw and hopefully cut a centre line somewhere around there, I think. There we go, nicely cut down the middle. Such a beautiful grain on this wood. I really do love it. Now then, we've got two nice little pieces, but which one are we going to use? I think this is the one we're going to tackle today. So we'll put that away for later, and we'll start on this. Now, I could turn it that way and do a natural edge, but we've got an uneven surface and using a worm screw or anything like that wouldn't be great, so I'd have to start between centres. And as it is not overly deep, I prefer not to have to go to that extent. So I think I'm going to put a worm screw in the middle of this and turn it in that orientation. Right, so I'll find the centre. Now, if you're fairly new to wood turning, this is the kind of ideal shape that you want to be starting on. Pieces like this can be obtained from anywhere you get firewood. It's the standard half log that you could pick up and shove on the fire, but instead drill your worm screw in it, put it on the lathe and have a play around with it. Okay, we're nice and safely on the lathe. Tailstock at the start to keep us safe. We can start turning at about 900 RPM. It's quite a light piece. It's fairly well balanced, so hopefully there won't be too many issues. Starting off with a 1/2 inch ball gouge. Also, on a safety note, Laburnum does have a few health risks involved with it, so rather than just the normal face mask and face shield I normally wear while turning, I'm going to be using my air-fed mask throughout. Okay, let's take a quick look to see what we're working with. Okay, no surprises yet. Now, did notice on this end here where there's been an old branch coming out, it looks like there is potentially some rot in there. Laburnum is very prone to rot. If you're used to this wood, then you'll often find rot going through the centre. So as we're going up, we'll investigate this and just to make sure that we can do what's best and safe by it. And in terms of shape, we can either go two ways with this kind of shape of wood. We can either do like a banana boat kind of shape, or we can do a very subtle platter almost style. So I'm thinking platter for this one. So we're going to have a nice distinctive foot, that kind of width, but a little bit longer, and then create almost like a curve going out to it, and then we'll angle the top in as well. So we'll see how that goes as a plan to start off with. I would normally wait for a little bit longer, but there isn't an awful lot of wood here, so we have to try and decide fairly early on what we're wanting to do. Okay, that's a good start. We have lost this corner, unfortunately. I felt it ping out at me, so we may have to lose the bark or do some sympathetic sanding. We're nearly up as far as we want to go, so I think I'll just go a little bit further up there and then start forming this foot. Love that little shape in there. That's wonderful. I'm having a nightmare with this mask. Not for any aesthetic or technical reason, it's just that I keep on forgetting to turn it on, and as you're turning, the shield mists up, so that's when you realise that you haven't actually turned it on. Right, okay, we've created a nice little foot. So let's quickly take away the tailstock, put our little tenon in here, and then we can look to start sanding. Okay, that'll do nicely. Now, with regards to the tenon, I don't usually go quite so deep as this, but because the actual foot wall is quite thin compared to what I normally do, I've gone a little bit deeper just to try and give more wood to grip against, just so it's a little bit safer. I've also, just to keep the aesthetics similar, I've given the inside wood a bit of a curve as well, so it kind of matches the overall shape, so it feels like this foot's almost being stuck on over the top of the bowl. Right, I'm going to set up for sanding. It won't take long, but I'll still let you watch a bit of it. Okay, sanding went well. It's always interesting trying to sand these shapes, but we managed. I had a quick go at creatively sanding this edge, and we'll have another go once we've turned it around and we've got the final profile, but it seems like it will work, sort of. So next step, I'll quickly clean this off with a bit of isopropyl alcohol just to get the dust off it, and give us a chance to have a first look at this wonderful grain you get with laburnum. It's got such a wonderful chatoyance to it. That's beautiful. Okay, all right, we'll let that dry. Okay, that's had plenty of time to dry. So I'm just going to put a sealer on it. This again is a shellac sealer. And when this dries, we'll go on with an abrasive paste and then a wax finish, I think. When I was sanding up near the edges, there are a couple of hairline fractures which you can just make out there. Nothing so bad that would be a danger to the piece, but we'll just keep an eye on them just in case. Okay, right, we'll let that dry. Okay, that's had long enough to dry. So I'm going to go on with an abrasive paste. Rub this in while it's spinning, but then I'll also lock it off so I can do the wings with a pad as well. There's no way I'm going to hold a cloth with any kind of effectiveness and buff those wings. Not while keeping my fingers anyway. back on with isopropyl to clean off any excess grit. This is really starting to look nice. You can see the chatoyance in it. We'll let that dry. And now for one of my homemade finishes, which is beeswax, carryover wax and microcrystalline wax, all in linseed oil. I'll buff this in, do the same thing again, and we'll turn it around and work on the other side. Okay, I'll finish this off and I'll bring you back in a second. Okay, turn back around. Now we're going to start hollowing this out. We only really want to go down as deep as the worm screw itself, so we'll take it down slowly, bit by bit. Hopefully we'll keep the bark on, but I am prepared for this coming off, so we'll see how we get on. I've got a slight OG shape on the outside. It goes curves, there's two kind of directional curves there, so we'll replicate that on the shape of the bowl as well. Okay, it's going okay. I've lost a bit of that, more of that bark. I've lost a bit more there as well. The rest is fairly intact. It's okay, so that's pretty much, you need to go a little bit thinner maybe on the wings, but not an awful lot. Alright, okay. Continuing, I think I'll just go a little bit further on these wings first before I start going in. With wing bowls like this, if you do go quite thin on the wings, the further you progress hollowing out, the more these will distort with the centrifugal forces. So it's always better to work on the outside, get that sorted, and then inwards. So this mass here is keeping this stable. Okay, I just quickly switched over to the scraper just to work on these wings, and now that's done, I can take away the tailstock and finish this off. Okay, well that really went well. Really pleased with that. So I'm going to quickly get my scraper out again, just sort out a couple of areas that need it, and we can start sanding this bit. Okay, I think that will definitely do it. There's a spot of grey in here, which is absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to see a finish on that. Right, I'm going to set up for sanding again. I'll let you watch a bit of it, and I shall bring you back when we're done. well, sanding went well. We didn't get to keep the bark, unfortunately, but it has left us a beautiful shaped edge on this, so I'm not too disappointed. Just going to give it a clean off with some isopropyl. I did feel a little bit silly during sanding. I spent 20 minutes trying to sand out some end grain here, only to realise that it was actually part of the wood pattern itself. So these things happen. All right, I'm going to go over this twice because it was quite a dusty experience. Okay, this has had plenty of time to dry, so I'll go back on with the shellac sealer. It really is an incredible grain on Laburnum. Just one of those woods that always looks good. If there's no Laburnum where you are, then think of it as being like a darker black locust or something like that. It's a very similar grain. In fact, it's a very similar plant. They both have flowers which are poisonous. The leaves are very, very similar shapes. The main difference is I think that black locust is far more resilient to rot than Laburnum is. We'll let this dry and we'll come back on with an abrasive paste. Okay, that's nice and dry. So I'll go back on with an abrasive paste. We'll do this the same way as I did the other side. I'll put it on with it spinning first of all, and then I'm going to drill out and buff the rest with that. And then of course the usual next step, cleaning off with isopropyl. Just remove any grit left from the abrasive paste. And let this dry and then come back on with the wax. Okay, just about ready. Remember, this is a mix of beeswax, Caranuba wax and microcrystalline, all mixed in with linseed oil. That combination of waxes should give us a nice polish, but also the microcrystalline and Caranuba. Caranuba. This mix of waxes will help waterproof it, keep the fingerprints off it, and also give us a nice shine as well. Right, we'll buff this in. Okay, I'm going to finish this off by hand, and then we can take a look at what we've done. Well, there we go. A beautiful little Laburnum platter, bowl, whatever you want to call it. Well, considering it's just half a small log, it really is quite a beautiful little thing. I know it's only small, but I don't always have to make big, huge pieces to make something beautiful. It's an incredible grain around here. I love these two eyes. This is the pith that runs through the center of the trunk. So you imagine it in 3D, it would go all the way through that way. And we've created almost like a face there, nice big nose. And the same on the back as well. It really is quite beautiful. If you're fairly new to wood turning, then just get yourself down to wherever you can buy burning logs and things like that, and they'll have thousands of these kind of sized pieces hanging around, which you'll be able to pick up for very, very little money indeed, just to practice on, just to play around with, just to learn how to use the tools, learn how to use your imagination, and just to enjoy it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. It hasn't been the longest project in the world, but I've really enjoyed it. Sometimes it's nice just to relax a little bit and have fun with a small piece of beautiful wood. If you have enjoyed it, I really appreciate a like and subscribe and all the usual things. And if you do leave a comment as well, then you are going to be entered into the next giveaway whenever that happens. But apart from that, thank you very much indeed for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you.